Arbors Pavilions. These structures offer shade and additional living space to your property. Let's take a look at some techniques to illuminate these structures. So Mark, you have a large pavilion here. Tell me what was going through your mind when you decided to create a lighting plan for this area.
Well, I think it was a two-part. It's a form and function.
Okay.
A lot of effort of detail was put in to build this absolutely magnificent structure.
Okay.
And so it was kind of my job to make it actually even look even better.
Now I see a lot of downlights. Looks like I see maybe 8 of the NL fixed mount downlights. Tell me what effect that is creating.
So because of the height of the pavilion, we really can get a lot out of that light and be able to control it with zoning and dimming also. So we can create different rooms within this room.
I love the height that you've installed them at. It really helps create a very natural look and a natural flow between the various areas of the pavilion. Very pleased with how you did that.
Yeah, and you know what? It's also a big safety feature, right? We're trying to make sure that people understand where the structure sits, but not do it in an in-your-face kind of manner.
The downlights really accentuate the design and the architecture of the pavilion as well, really highlighting the beam structure, not only on the downlights, but I see uplights as well.
Yep.
So it looks like you're highlighting even the ceiling portion too?
We are. So what we did is we actually put a couple of PBs up there. And, you know, the job of the architect is to, draw it and make it look really pretty. The builder, goes ahead and executes that. Well, I think our job is to actually make it even look even better.
I definitely agree with you. Those PBs have a very wide spread, and so it makes a very even spread, even on the architecture and the beaming structure of the ceiling.
Yeah, well, and we took it one step further and actually made them ZDC.
Great. Well, tell me about that.
So, I mean, with the ZDC, again, it just gives a lot of different options from the homeowner. You know, this summer happens to be a big sports fan.
Okay.
And so, when the Cincinnati Reds are playing, hey, it's right up on top of the ceiling. We also happen to be, around the Golden State Warriors, and the Warriors are playing. Guess what? It's like flying a flag. But we're just doing it in lights.
Great. And what color is it for the rest of the year? It's not red. What color is it for standard?
Probably anything that his kids would pick. Okay. That's the other fun part about this whole ZDC thing. Kids get to play around and change some light colors, and so it interactive for the whole entire family.
Oh, this is a great structure here.
Oh, it's nice.
So, John, tell me about how you decided to light a pavilion such as this.
This was a fun project. We used uplighting, the FB, and we had a unique opportunity to use the FB with 2 different effects.
Okay, what were those?
So we use the FB to show off the structure. It's a wonderful structure, and all the FBs are mounted, and all the lights going up. With that, we have light coming off of the structure, bringing light down as downlighting.
So for one fixture, you get uplighting, the uplighting effect as well as the downlighting effect.
That's correct.
Well, that's great. So how many fixtures did you decide to use here?
We have 12 fixtures throughout the whole area, and these fixtures are all aimed in a similar direction, going up.
Okay. Now, from that many fixtures in this structure seems like a lot. Do you use all that light all the time?
It is. It's a lot of light. The thing is, what we did was we used the zoning and dimming feature on these lights, and that way, when you want a lot of light in the area, say we're out here playing games with the kids, it's great to turn the light up high. Yeah. And then we can take the light and we can bring it down.
Oh, when you're not using it?
When you're not using it, or if you want to create a more romantic atmosphere.
I bet that makes it very comfortable for those sitting around. What I like about that is it doesn't make this portion the focal point of the entire backyard. We have pools, we have other things going on.
That's right.
This won't become a distraction at all times.
That's exactly right.
So now what about the wires? I don't see any wires here.
Yeah, it's very important, especially when you have so many fixtures. We've got to hide the wires. Nobody wants to see wires. So keep in mind that you got to lay it out and design it with hiding the wires in mind.
Illuminating arbors establishes a transitional area between spaces, but it also adds an element of surprise as to what's coming next. Let's take a look.
So it's kind of a fun yard with a lot of cool amenities here.
Including this one.
Right, and what we got here is an arbor. Yeah. And how often do you get an arbor? It's awesome because it's a place that you can downlight. We can introduce some functional lighting for your pathway.
Yeah.
And in this case, what we're doing is we're going to put a light up here on the top, and we're going to use the LE light. It's a small little pendant light. And what we can do is we can place it here, and that's going to create a transition point from one side of the garden as we go into the next side.
And what does that do for the homeowner with that transitional light? Does it help them know where to go? Does it help them feel good about where they're going? What does it do for them?
Well, I think it's kind of an ambiance thing. It gives you a focal point, first of all, and then secondly, it gives you safety and functionality. So as you're coming from through the garden, you've got light, and it saves maybe having to put path lights in or other things like that.
Now, what about the establishment of the greenery here? What does it do for the light output? Does it restrict it a lot?
Yeah, in this case, what we were able to do was kind of trim up some of the landscape just a little bit, so we'd have a spot to kind of tuck the light in. And over time, it's going to grow in. So you'll have to, whenever you get fun with lights, sometimes you have to do a little bit of tuning to keep the same amount of light output. But yeah, that was pretty easy to do.
And last question is, anytime we use downlights, I'm always worried about the wires and where the wires are going to be, how you're going to hide them, what are you going to do with them? How do you hide them in such an application like this?
Well, that's always a tough part, and particularly in this site, the homeowner is very much into woodworking, so getting it nice and tight was really critical. And in this case, what we were able to do is kind of tuck the wire up underneath between the two header boards, and then we were able to kind of bring it down the back, and we were able to tie it in to a kind of a nook, and so it just kind of disappeared. But if you didn't have that, let's say you just had two posts holding up your arbor, you could use a copper conduit. It coppers a conduit, it kind of patinas and blends in, and it give a nice clean line.
So this is a custom arbor that we designed and had built for this secret garden on the side of the house. Sure. And one of the important things that we wanted to do was in the evenings be able to light it. So as you come through the arch, we wanted a way to emphasize the space, so we added a light at the top of the arch which shines down and welcomes users to the area.
So what's the significance of the downlighting specifically?
Because there's no other way to get good light under an arbor. So you have path lights and you have up lights, but this is a great light for giving this entry some real presence.
Nice.
The important thing with a fixture like this is obviously you have to hide the wires. Yeah. Nobody wants to see wires hanging from this beautiful arbor. So what we did was we ran it up the side of the arbor, we attached it with some zip ties very tightly, and then we came across the top, and then once we get to the top, some more zip ties to hold it tightly into place. With a light like that, it's really important that it's stable, because if the wind should blow, you don't want the light moving around at night. You just want it to be nice and stable. And then once you come through, you have all the other lights that draw the users in, the path lights and the spotlights and the wall washes.
Nice. Let's review the basics for lighting arbors, pavilions, and other permanent structures. Always include these structures in your lighting plan for safety, convenience, and practicality in your outdoor living space. Choose downlighting as your primary effect for ambient lighting. Arbors are ideal for transitions within your design. Use downlighting to draw attention to the entrance and light the path for safety. Illuminate pavilions with downlights and uplights, highlighting vertical components with downlighting and other aspects with uplighting. The pavilion top can include accent lights or wall washes, highlighting the interior and inviting people into the structure. This is also a great place to add color to your design. Don't forget to light both inside and outside the structure. The upward accent lights inside the pavilion can also provide the needed ambient light on both the ground and on working surfaces. I hope you learned a few techniques to light up these great structures. For more information, visit fxl.com.